Sometimes, life feels like a series of random moments, fleeting glances, accidental meetings, quiet choices. But what if those moments aren't so random? What if somewhere deep beneath the surface an invisible thread connects us all, pulling us closer, guiding us, changing everything without us even knowing? My name is James. I never believed in fate or destiny until the day I met her. It began on an ordinary morning, the kind that dissolves into forgettable routine. I was rushing to catch the train, juggling a coffee cup in one hand and my phone in the other, when I bumped into someone. Literally bumped, spilling my coffee across her coat. "I'm so sorry," I said, heart pounding, embarrassment flooding my face. She looked down at the stain, then up at me and smiled. A small, hesitant smile that somehow made the chaos of the morning slow down. "It's okay," she said softly. "It's just coffee." Her name was Emily, and that brief encounter was the first thread in a tapestry I never imagined. Days passed, and I couldn't shake the image of her smile, the gentle way she said, "It's okay." Life, in its usual rush, tried to pull me back into its endless cycle, but something had changed. A week later, I saw her again, in the small bookstore near my apartment. She was browsing the shelves, her fingers lightly tracing the spines of old novels. I hesitated, then walked up. "Emily?" I asked. She looked surprised, then smiled. "James, right?" We started talking about books, music, life, anything that came to mind. It felt effortless, like reconnecting with an old friend rather than meeting someone new. That day, the invisible thread felt stronger, weaving us closer with every word. Over the next few months, our paths crossed more often, sometimes by chance, sometimes by choice. Coffee shops, parks, rainy afternoons spent sharing stories under the shelter of a cafe awning. We learned each other's hopes and fears, the small quirks that make someone truly real. Emily loved old jazz records. I confessed I was terrible at cooking, but loved trying. One evening, she handed me a small, worn-out notebook. "This has been my companion for years," she said. "Maybe it'll keep your stories safe, too." That night, I opened it and found pages filled with poems, sketches, and memories. It was like holding a piece of her soul. But life, as always, has its shadows. Emily's past wasn't without pain. She told me about lost love, missed chances, and the fear of opening up again. I shared my own scars, mistakes, regrets, moments I wished I could rewrite. Yet, despite it all, the thread between us held firm, pulling us through doubts and fears. One rainy night, as the city lights blurred through the window, I realized I wasn't alone anymore. The invisible thread had become a lifeline. The days grew shorter and autumn painted the city in hues of gold and amber. Emily and I spent more time together, sharing quiet moments that didn't need words. It was as if the invisible thread between us had woven itself into a tapestry of trust and understanding. One chilly afternoon, we found ourselves sitting on a bench in the park, watching leaves fall like slow rain. She looked at me, her eyes reflecting a mixture of hope and fear. "Do you ever think about what might happen if we let go of the past?" she asked softly. I nodded. "Every day. But sometimes holding on to the thread means moving forward, not backward." She smiled then, a genuine smile that reached deep into my heart. Maybe fate isn't about grand gestures, but the small moments we share. Winter came swiftly, covering the city in a blanket of snow. Emily and I grew closer, our lives intertwining in ways I never expected. The invisible thread was no longer a mystery. It was a bond, fragile yet unbreakable. One evening, as we walked through the quiet streets, she stopped and took my hand. "I want you to know something," she whispered. "Meeting you changed everything. You made me believe in the invisible." Her words echoed in my mind long after the night ended. It wasn't just chance that brought us together. It was something deeper, a connection beyond logic and time.
Spring returned.
Breathing life into the city once more. With it came new beginnings, hope, and a promise. Emily and I stood beneath a blooming cherry tree, petals drifting like soft rain around us. The invisible thread that tied us together glowed brighter than ever. "I don't know what the future holds," I said quietly, "but I'm grateful for this, for you." She smiled, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "And I'm grateful for the thread that brought us here." In that moment, I understood. Life's smallest moments are never truly random. They are the invisible threads weaving the story of who we are and who we will become.